here on Silverrun Forest Farm with Jake and Paige. Jake's just running the milk into the Sunnyside Cafe. It's just gone 7 o'clock in the morning, so it'll be a popular delivery, no doubt. They do a pretty good breakfast, I'm told, at Sunnyside. But Jake's got a full calendar of activities for the day, which we'll get to in due course. It's actually an opportunity to put this truck that he picked up secondhand for the test. And we'll just pick up a couple of dollars from selling the milk. I think the Sunnyside Cafe is just somewhere around here. Where are we? Just on our... oh, just up ahead, I think it is. On our left-hand side. If I recall, there's a laneway that we struggled to get into last time with the longer truck. But this time we should be fine. Big curbs there. And that looks like our delivery point. There's the cafe right there. So let's unload here. Can we unload? Let's have a look here. Start overloading. Very good. So there's $3,700. Good way to start the day. With any luck, we should be able to get out round the corner here. There we go. Yeah, so we're into April, which opens the planting window for corn. So we'll be taking care of that. In fact, that might be a good strategy on the way back. We'll just drop by that. We'll come in the back way to the farm, that new field that we've cut out, and get a worker going to seed that field. We also ducked down and checked, and the field we put silver beet in down the bottom has a few weeds that have broken through, so we need to take care of weeding that field. The other larger fields down by the inlet that we've got grass in, we need to cut and cultivate so that ultimately in the second half of April we can put some more corn in there. So there's a bunch of activities that will keep us going, and we'll probably need to go to the shop for more seed, so we might do that pretty early on to make sure we don't run out, and that's where we needed to be going. Let's just turn here. So this is the new field that we want to run corn in. So what we'll do is start this field. Let's have a look here what Courseplay has to say. It's sort of got a field defined here, but it's not perfectly defined on the edges. So what we'll do is create a job. We'll just kind of make do with what we have. We'll start at the first waypoint. Let's select the field. Open and close course generator. That is the right width. Now, if we do with this vehicle and this combination, 3 headlands should be fine, but we'll start in the center. Sharp corners, no bypass. Let's generate the course. It's not going to give us much. Let's just go with 2 headlands. Well, in fact, let's just go with 1 headland, and we'll come and pick it back up before we get to the edges. What does that give us? That looks a bit better. And start that out and see how he goes. He's going to need some seed shortly. Where is the starting point for this field? Up the top. We'll let you trundle along your way, and we'll come back and fix the headlands around the edges. When he's all done, we need to bring some more seed down here, so that means the next trip is definitely into town. We can see that the strip farming we're trying out with our sugar beet has come through, so we'll have to see how that develops. That'll look a bit interesting along there. I'm driving past this grass field up here. Paige has been in Jake's ear a little bit actually about all of the clearing that we're doing, and putting a little bit of pressure on, and so Jake's had a bit of an idea of another experiment that he could run. So he wants to surprise Paige a little bit with this one. So while we're down the store, we might have a look at the options for planting some trees. They'll take a couple of months to come up, so we can kind of put them in and see how it goes, and surprise Paige with a trip up there when they come through. And it might work quite well with the grass on that field. He can still get a row of grass if he's a bit clever about where he places the trees. Let's just take the corner a little bit tighter here. That's better. Round you go. Better. Just like I bought one. We can just drop you here. So if we're going to do that, we probably should take the tractor and the low loader into town, I think. Might drop that winch off. That's not going to be required. We'll catch up with Jake when he gets to town. Just park in the yard here at the shop and duck inside and have a chat. So in terms of the tree planting idea, Jake's looking at, there's a few different ways to plant trees in this area. This is sort of this large or mid-size unit. There's a big 240 piece capacity planter, but you need a sophisticated piece of machinery to drive that. And then there's this little one that looks like the sort of speed we need, and it's only slow, but it's only small, and for the occasional use that he's planning to put it to, it's definitely the right way to go. So he's going to buy one of those for 7,500, and then we need some trees, and not a weight. We need to have a look at pallets of trees, and the pellet, there's this variety that come in sort of packs of 20, but not many of the species for the local area, whereas this chap over here comes in 240 piece lot, so it's a lot of tree saplings, but the advantage is it's got all of the varieties of the local area. So what he's thinking, the trees that he wants to plant, he does want to explore the opportunity to harvest them again, which is why he's going to put them in this experimental field next to the pond, and just sort of check out how that goes. But this lodgepole pine is the way to go, he thinks, based on what he's been taking out so far. So $12,000 will buy a pallet of those, so we'll do that. And then the other thing, of course, he requires while we're down here is some seed. Whoops, so let's get ourselves 4 bags of seed, which should be enough to get all of our corn planting in the 2 fields we've got. So we'll buy those. And I think that should do it for today. So we need to load up seed bags. Let's do that first. It's the width of the tines we need here. It's going to be a little bit too wide. Still a little bit too wide, maybe. There we go. Oops. Take 2 at a time. Avoid overloading anything. We'll just pop these up on the front here. Easy as you like. Makes a big difference having the right sort of equipment. Just trying to judge that view. Come on. There we go. Just got a call from the worker to say they're stuck on something on the field, so we better duck up, and on the way back we'd have to fill them up with seed anyway, so won't be an issue. Now if we load up the set, I think we can put that planter straight on that box of tree saplings straight on the planter. Which side are we connecting to here? Put you on the front 3-point. It's nice and easy, and we'll just load you straight onto there. And as easy as you like, 240 trees, all good to go. So that's a pretty cheap and simple solution. We'll strap on our seed bags and go and find out what our planter is up to. Sure enough, there we've stopped over there, found a tree. It's the downside of having trees on the edge of the field, but that's okay. Why don't we fold those? Let's go up and see where you're up to. Just sit there and wait. So you're up to number 69. So I'll just pause you there a second. That's very close. Let's run you down and fill you up with seed. Let's see how you get on. Skim alongside there. You struggle to pick the right gear range, don't you? Now, which way do you want to go? You want to be heading back across here, I'm guessing. Let's start you out about here, and hopefully you'll pick that track up. No, you did not, because you went to the first waypoint. One of those situations where it would help if the worker knew what I meant, not what I said. Let's try this again. That looks a bit better. And you're back on track. Now, with any luck, let's just watch you get to the end here. You should have enough room to turn there before you get to the tree. So we should get a couple of passes in. And what we might do, so we can keep an eye on, Jake can just run up to the grass field and let's see how easy it is to put those trees in. Because we ploughed out the land here, we shouldn't get any weeds in our strips of sugar beet. It's only the field down the bottom. So what he's kind of thinking here is the mower's about 6 meters wide. So we came across to the edge. We've got a finger up here. We certainly plant up the edge here. So let's come back. What are our instructions? We need to turn on the tree planter and lower it, I suspect. If we turn you on and lower you down, you not lowered. Let's try selecting the correct tool. There we go. And if we drive forward every 5 meters or so, you can see the count going down, 238. We're putting a tree in the ground, so it's a bit hard to tell where we've been. So we have to kind of, there's no visible cue for Jake, so you just got to remember where it's planted, but that's put 10 trees near enough up that strip. Now, if we say, well, 6 meters is about twice the width of the tractor, so we come in to tractor widths. If we wanted to do it seriously, we could set up a GPS course, but I think for this field that would seem excessive. We might try that if this experiment goes well and he decides there's a commercial opportunity. But that's about 2 widths. So we'll just maintain that line down there. That'll give us another row of trees with hopefully enough of a strip between them that we can mow up the center. And I think what we'll do is we'll try and bisect. We'll do another line down the edge and that another line by the stump. So that's another 10 trees in there. Just sort of curl around to the end of our field. Something like so. And then let's just do the rest of this edge. And that works so straightforwardly. It's not a difficult task, but this will protect erosion on the edge of this grass fields and should give Paige a really good surprise when she sees what we've done here. Speaking of surprises, Paige's grandfather was a farmer. He lives sort of to the southwest, about a day's drive from here, and he's long retired now, but he was chatting to Paige the other day, and he said he was sending us a surprise. So got no idea. Paige is very much a favourite, and whilst Paige's grandfather was a farmer, Paige's father kind of worked on the farm for a while, but once he really sort of got organised, then his real sort of passion and interest, he was a mechanic, so he had a workshop in town, and that kind of worked out pretty well because the farm, Paige's grandfather still lives on kind of a third of the land. It got divided when a freeway came through, and so they sort of, it just wasn't practical to work the bit on the other side, and with the payout they sold half, and Paige's grandfather retired, and that's kind of what set up her father in his own workshop, and also paid for Paige to go to veterinary school. So it's a pretty close family. Anyway, turns out there's a surprise coming. So we haven't got any details. Jake has a theory. His suspicion, like her grandfather knows that they've set up the horse business, and that the riding school. And so Jake's working theory is that he's sending her a horse. So we'll just wait and see. I'm sure we'll get details in due course. At the moment, all the stables are full down the bottom, so Jake's sort of thinking, well, if we have got a horse or two coming for Paige, he's going to have to put another stable in, maybe up near the main farm. What's happening over here? Where's our worker disappeared off to? Oh no, he's doing all right. He's making real good progress on this field, so won't be far away from, if he hasn't already, starting on the headland, which looks to be the case. So we'll let the first headland complete and then we'll go round and patch up the rest. So yes, Jake's been giving some thought as to where he puts a stable if in fact a couple of horses arrive. But that's something to look forward to as we get into the summer, I suspect. For now, that tree planting went fairly well, which was good. And if it does work out well, there's sort of patches like this down to the road's edge where you're not going to really use them for an arable field, but potentially could put a crop of trees in. Thinking about how he's kind of found it. I mean, fully grown, about 6 of these, that's the lodge pine there in the center. 6 of these also fill one of those 6-meter containers. So you don't need, you think about looking across a strip like this, you probably get 10 trees. If they take a year and a half to get to maturity, which seems to be the local gossip, then each strip that you get across here, let's say we put them 4 or 5 meters apart and we get, what, 5 or 6 strips down there, well, there's $300,000. That's not a bad return for land that you wouldn't otherwise use. A lot more lucrative potentially than farming. So you might have to experiment with supplementing the arable parts of the farm with some good tree crops. So, and particularly given it was so cheap and easy to put them down. So we might take over from the worker at this point, I think. Let's see where you are here. What you're doing. Let's stop you. Let's put you down. Let's run the edge of this top part of the field. Looks like most of it's been taken care of. Just a couple of little spots that were outside the field boundary. When it comes to the next sort of work on this field, we need to make sure we've got the boundaries in the right spot for the crop that we've got in the ground. With any luck, a bigger planter will come up for sale during the course of the year and we can pick that up. So I think we'll be planting corn here. There's definitely a line that it misses every second row. Maybe the course play was set just slightly off, fraction too wide. So we can get the worker to take the planter. No, maybe not with this width. The trees might just get a little bit more tricky. But anyway, the next job that Jake wants to do, go and get that trailer with the seed on it, is we've got some weeding to take care of on those sugar beets. Picked up the weeder at the farm, so we can just whiz around this field. You can see the weeds that have sprung up. Hopefully that's going to do the job. Let's have a look here. Just check that we're having the effect we think. So that's really interesting. What happened to our crop that was in here? Ah. Well, that's a bit of a disaster. So we had sugar beet planted in here. And at the end of the last episode, we rolled it before it had germinated. And now we have no sugar beet. So it appears that our roller has killed the crop. So there's no point weeding this field. We might as well... Well, actually there is. We can weed it and then we can seed it with corn. It's not the end of the world, but it's not the result that Jake was looking for. It's a learning experience. Might have to get rid of that that roller that he used, because that's not good at all. He did wonder as he drove up, looking at it, why it wasn't showing the sugar beet that had come up in the strips that we planted. So that is most odd. Oh well. We live and we learn. The weeds on here are probably spread enough. Sometimes when you put just a worker on without running course play, they won't work very well, but I'm hoping that what we can do here is just do a headland and then set the worker going, because this tractor's quite maneuverable, and go and get the other tractor so we can get some corn down in here. As is often the case, the worker gave up at the edge of the field. There's a tree over there I suspect that it's annoyed by. Yep. Just didn't give you enough room to turn around, did I, champ? Let's do another headland down this side. And then we'll look at the crop calendar, and we know we can definitely put corn in. Is it possible to still plant sugar beet in this field? That may still be possible, so in April. I cannot remember the planting window. And then the next job is to get the grass off that field in front of us so that we can put corn in there next time. So we're certainly working our way through the list of chores. We want to turn that grass off that field into hay. Let's see how we go here. What it may pay to do is go and get the mower rather than try and put the seeder to work, or the planter to work on that little field at the same time. Our barley is coming along. This is an interesting field just here next to the modern timber mill here in town. Jake's never one that's short of ideas. Just having a bit of a thought, maybe it's not a bad field size. Got no idea what type of soil is in it. It's not the world's largest field, but it's not tiny. Let's just have a look here. So if we look at our soil types, see, we've got quite a lot of sandy loam. There's a fair chance it's largely sandy loam. Maybe it may have a little bit of loam at the top here. But it wouldn't necessarily be the worst idea in the world if our experiment up the top here with our trees works out well. Maybe we could plant grass. It would give us an extra grass field, and strip plant trees in it, and real close proximity to the sawmill. So interesting thought for the future. What is the price of that field? Field 41. It's only $50,000. So when you think about it, it's only the cost of a container. A 6-meter container full of trees. The other thing that we probably didn't check back in on is just the different soil types that we've got. That grassed area that we've just put trees in on the top has got a little bit of loam, so there's a patch of loam hiding in here. We haven't tested these areas, and we've got sandy loam and silty clay on the hillside over here. So that's an interesting mix for our field. Now let's just get you started. So we'll put you on course play. And let's create a job for water view. And we want to do CP field work. The field is here. Target position is here. One field, 3 headlands. That works. The job's going to start on the other side, so let's just take you over. Didn't notice, did I generate the course with starting in the middle? Probably. It doesn't matter particularly. You can start at the first waypoint. Here you go. And we'll just get this, the weeds picked up and get the planting underway here. Oh, that was the other thing we were going to check, wasn't it? In the calendar. We can still plant sugar beet, so I think we're going to go ahead and replace the sugar beet that we had already planted in this field. Make up for our mistake with the roller. One weed, there's always one. Doesn't quite get picked up. This implement's actually a hoe that does small and medium weeds. Jake picked it up in order to, he had weeds to deal with in that barley field. And it worked really well. So it's an older style John Deere hoe. Let's make sure we've got sugar beet selected. Jake filled up on the trip bringing it down, so that's all good. Let's create a job on this field. And we're back on the grass field. We've got all the sugar beet planted, so that's all good. Looks like it's sped up now, but the Traction King was on a bit of a go slow there for a while with the mower. Just having trouble with its gearbox again. But it looks like it's picked up speed. Meanwhile, we've gone and got the tedder, as you can see, and begun tedding from the centre out, just to try and keep this guy out of the way of the Traction King. So we'll see how that goes, and it should work all right. Don't know what you're waiting for. Next row, hopefully. Just because this field's got a bit of a long angled shape to it. There we go. And so hopefully once this is done, we can go and get the, shouldn't take too long to ted it, and then we can get the baler to follow the windrower around and knock it all off before it gets dark. At least that's the plan. The tedder's nearly finished, so we'll just go and get the baler organised. And we should be able to get that going without too much difficulty at all. Just as an aside, being April 1st, Jake was thinking of planting some spaghetti trees. He inquired about it at the shop. They didn't seem to have the appropriate seedlings. We can cut that grass field if we've got time next time. This'll... We should get plenty of bales off this field. That's the tedding done. Now just row it up and bale it. So we might put the worker in the baler and just get them to follow along. And meanwhile we'll drop the tedder just over here. No need to cart that around the field again. Put you down. Create a starting row. Let's see here. Let's go and get this baler organised. Hopefully you've overcome your gearbox problems. Down, unfold it. Let's have a look. What size are we making? We're making hay bales. Let's make these as big as we can. So 240s is good. Turn you on. First one's going to be small. That's okay. Let's right, control F, you can follow the McCormick. Excellent. And away we go. That should work okay. And before everybody writes an essay in chat, yes, I know spaghetti trees aren't grown in this part of the world. They're more native to Italy, but Jake thought it'd be a good idea. What can you do? Very quiet, this more modern sawmill. We don't see a lot of traffic in and out of there. Haven't heard much about the old sawmill at the top of the map either. all we know for certain is there's been not much progress on the roller coaster, so the town project, it's not really moving along. This building in front of us is a boatyard, which also seems to be, or boat builder, which also seems to be a little quiet, although Jake is a little bit interested in that. Quite like the prospect of taking Paige out sailing on the estuary here. But between her job and as a vet and his work getting this farm sorted out, there's not much time for the sailing. Would even give it a look. So at the moment it's just a dream. Thinking more about that pasture just over there for 50,000, even though it's kind of situated right next to the sawmill. He is reluctant to use such a flat piece of land for trees, given there's so much treed terrain around. So maybe the right thing to do is still to buy it, but just to put a crop on it, and to really solidify the holdings and the crop production in this part of the field. Whatever the case, that's not one for this year. We won't have time to buy it and prepare it to get a crop in it for this season, but maybe as we move into the autumn, it's worth considering. This work today has highlighted why another tractor would definitely be an advantage. But we'll keep going, and with any luck, we'll get this sorted right about the time it gets dark. Certainly kicking out bales pretty steadily from what we've produced here, so good grass yield, good hay yield. As the light fades, the follower, I guess, gets a little bit too far behind and stops, so we might be at a point where we call it for today and come back and finish this next time. We obviously have the bales to pick up off here once we've finished baling it up, and then we can get the cultivator on it and get it planted. So that's the primary order of business. So that's next time, and then our thoughts will move to fertilizing to make sure everything's in tip-top condition for growing. So that's probably where we'll leave it. We'll turn things around and leave them all set up for when Jake gets back in the morning in the daylight. But it's been good. It'd be great to see how our trees go on that top little meadow. But until next time, that's where we might leave it today. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and stay safe. Be good to one another. We'll see you next time. See ya.